1 and 2 and a 1.
It's okay.
I think it's almost unspoken, the connection. You know, when you are an artist from here, especially a touring artist, there's an unspoken bond. You know what each other's life looks like, you know, on the road, creatively, whatever it is. And to actually be able to work together officially, you know, just strengthens that bond. They're very special people to us. So yeah, this is high time we work together in this way.
I had just been taken off the road in the middle of the biggest tour of my life.
When the pandemic was first kind of starting to materialize in our part of the world, it was hard to quantify what it all meant.
We had a spring tour lined up. We had a full summer of bookings, and then a full fall of bookings, and a winter tour.
We were in PEI. We were going to do a show in Georgetown, and then it was a mad dash to figure out how to cancel everything and then to get home.
When we finally started to realize that this wasn't going to be a week-long interruption, this wasn't going to be a month-long interruption, this was indefinite.
Alan is one of these people who is always working. He's got several projects going on at once, and almost immediately kind of got us on the phone.
He hadn't even really told me who was going to be involved yet, but I mean, when Alan calls you and says that he has something brewing, it's like, of course you're going to be in.
I heard a news story from Amy House and a couple other people on the CBC Morning Show talking about this project that Music NL had just gotten some funding for, funding new ways for people to record and connect people with people they hadn't normally been connected with, but also simply connecting people at a time when we can't be connected. Hearts are stronger when they mend. Is say taken by you two guys, that group there.
Yeah.
And then you do the "It's All Right," and by the time, and then when we get that way, the part that you were singing, "It's all right," is all the fellas, and all the girls sing. And then.
And so when Alan had this idea, it was really interesting to see how we were going to put all the pieces together and do this within the protocols.
And so Alan said, I got this great idea. We're going to record songs in isolation. You're going to be at your place. Ennis are going to be at their place. The ones are going to be here. Rachel's going to be here. I'm going to teach you how to record.
We're always talking about having our own home studio. And Alan said, well, this is your chance now to put this together. So he helped us put together a studio so we could record our own vocals.
Then we had all gotten into like the group chats and the emails, and there was like every day somebody was putting something else out on the table.
About 90% of it was created while we were all in different parts of Newfoundland and stuck in our houses. And then towards the end of July, or very early in August is what I remember, the restrictions about visiting other people's bubbles and stuff lifted.
So we went in and we were hanging out at Alan's studio, like a couple people at a time in the space.
The choir, they would come in fours. So they would stay distance, and in fours they would sing their parts, and the string quartet would kind of, you know, be 6 feet apart from each other.
It was so strange. I mean, obviously everything's so different, but just like every day was something new thrown on the table, and it just kind of fell together the way that it should have, really.
It also gave it a sense of home, you know, that this was something that we could do, that we felt like would be fun for us to do, but would also demonstrate to the rest of the world what we were capable of, you know? And again, not just at the best of times, but in the worst of times. It seems to be where the good people of Newfoundland and Labrador shine the most. It's when times are rough.
Won't let a day go by, because we're afraid to find a shadow on the sun. There's no perfect path to go, and there's a bump in every road along the way.
We talked about different ideas, and the idea of songs from home kept coming up, you know, because quite literally we were all creating and working from home. We were working on these songs from home.
And I will say it's extra special because our friends, the Once sang on our song, and we've been joking for years that we would form a band called The Fortunate Ones. So it's finally coming to fruition.
Home has even taken on a more important meaning during this time. And so when the idea came around to have songs from home, I just loved it.
And I think the music itself speaks for itself. It is a lovely, beautiful project. But how this all came together in a time when it seems impossible is truly the story.
This industry is tough without a pandemic. You know, it's tough. It's a very tough thing to have to try and coordinate. And
But the passion that you have for music and for performing and making art and creating overcomes all of that.
And there's always a way. I mean, this project is definitely proof of that we were able to find the ways to do this safely and still make this beautiful project and come together on that creative level.
And I feel like it's also part of history in some way. And I love that we have that. Now we can go forward with that, and I can leave that with my daughter Rosie, and maybe she'll pass it on.
Yeah, it's a really cool story.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah.
I love when an album is a real snapshot in time, and I think this is a bit like that. This is what life was like for 5 groups or artists from Newfoundland in 2020.
I really struggled in the beginning of COVID, especially just because I don't do well with just isolating and not performing live. But I got a lot of liberation, I guess, out of writing how I felt and that kind of thing, and knowing that people were turning to music for comfort at that time.
I think music has a way of almost giving you permission to feel whatever way you need to feel. You know, it's that there's a cathartic kind of response that music allows you to have, you know, and I think that's a pretty special thing.
Music can communicate what we're all thinking and can't say. And it's what we all turn to when, you know, we're going through something. So hopefully this can be, you know, a little bit of comfort for people.